friends. Far and wide, we are LIVE Live. What's up? How's it going, y'all? Happy Tasty Tuesday. I am Eric, your humble malt muser, and alongside a very sleepy Winston the Whiskey Cat guarding the cartridge over there, we are beaming the Whiskey Tube signal from the second city, Chicago, Illinois, USA. What's good, everyone? I hope everybody's had a good week so far. Great to connect. We got a fun show coming up for you tonight. Going to be cracking a new whiskey in our whiskey profile section. I got a couple updates to share with y'all and a bit of a little discussion topic that I'm going to be really curious to get input from folks who have been fans of the show for a while about. So looking forward to getting into all of this. But before we do any of all that stuff, as always, we are going to head on over to the chat, which has already got 8 people in it. See who's ponied up to the virtual bar, has a dram in hand, ready for some good whiskey talk. Let's get into this. First in the door tonight, coming at us from Jupiter, Florida, it's Mr. Gerbic. Hello, and a happy Tasty Tuesday, everyone. Mr. Gerbic, Jupiter, Florida. Hello, sir. How are you doing? I'd raise a glass to you. Right on his heels, it's our boy Jack, the Pickled Hound. How you doing from the New York Daytona connection? Jack, you on vacation? Not in the Big Apple today? Hope you're well, sir. On the other side of the country, Southern California, Los Angeles, it's James Chang. Happy Tasty Tuesday to you as well. Good to see you, James. Duluth, Minnesota's in the house too with Mr. French. What is good, Mr. French? Nice to have you for another week. I'm about to pour some Glenallachie 10 Batch 2 to enjoy during tonight's program. All right. Do share what you think about that bottle. It'll be good to chat about. Peter White, it's Mr. White, holding it down in Ontario, Canada. Batch 7, I have not even opened Batch 6 yet. Central California, hope you are staying safe. Donner Pass Whiskey, our good friend, man. Cheers to you and yours. San Francisco, same to you, man. Hope everything is well in the Bay Area with all the wildfire going on. It's Gary. Man, great to have you in the house, Gary. Quad Cities, just on the other side of Illinois from me. Holding it down, it's Chris S. How you doing, Chris? Great to have you in the house, as always, Chris. Let me pour just a little bit more of my starter whiskey tonight, which is Stranahan's Diamond Peak. A nice bottle. I've been sipping this a little bit to get the taste buds active and ready for tonight's tasting. Eager to get into. All right. He's got his batch 6 open. Donner Pass. Pass on the batch 6 for $60. Batch 7 is $90 these days. Oops. Yeah, the prices of them are crazy, man. Arizona Desert. Long day at work. I'm ready for a dram. Hey, man, you're in the right place. Hope you're doing well, Leo. Out there in the Sun Valley, Arizona. Got to be a hot one again for you today, I imagine. Dribs and drams. Hey, all. Not here long. Tuesday nights, I live stream on my channel. Hey, cheers, man. Thanks for dropping in. And he's in Montreal. Great. We got another friend in Montreal, man. Awesome to see you. Starting off with the Dewar's Japanese Smooth Mizunara Blended. What's going on with that one, man? You got to let us know about that. I've seen that in more than one place now, which is, I'm curious. I'm definitely curious. They had a rum cask that I pass on. I've just not found a lot of great Scotch and rum combinations, to be completely frank. But that Mizunara Oak had my attention. There's a Chivas, too, like that. East Texas. It's our good boy, Daniel H., the man with the wrench. How you doing, man? Good to see you. London's in the house. James Morgan. Cheers. All the way on the other side. Good morning to Kapil over in India. What's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Hope your day's starting off right. Alpha Crowns here. Holding it down in the Vancouver area. What's good, buddy? Top Shelf, Dustin. My bottle of batch 7 has been at Mike's for 3 months, and we still haven't reviewed it. That should tell you my opinion of it. There you go. Holding it down in Ohio. What's up, Top D? Pouring the batch 5 tonight. Nice. Gary's got the Virginia Courage and Conviction Cuvée. Man, all right. Batch 3 is collecting dust over there for Alpha Crown. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Great to see you. Awesome. All right, we got 17 folks in. Great way to start. So let me just do a little quick housekeeping to set things up for tonight. So first and foremost, as I mentioned last week, we are in the middle of our second Patreon supporter sample raffle. 3 winners who are members of the show on Patreon, which of course gets you early access to reviews, exclusive reviews, all sorts of goodies like that. We are in the second raffle for that. So if you join today and want to support the show, link is in the chat. To next week, we will announce the winners. Third place is getting a free sample of the Ben Romick Contrast Peat Smoke Sherry Cask Matured, one of my favorite whiskeys that I've had this year. Second place is getting that, plus the Ardnamurchan 07 batch that we did an uncorking of, which was a lot of fun. Newer distillery, putting out good stuff. And, of course, first place gets those 2 plus a sample of the Bunnahabhain 25 years old. So I'm also going to share today that I'm going to sweeten it up a little bit because I forgot I got to throw this in. First place is going to actually get 4 samples this time around. The 4th sample is going to be the brand new Lefroy Cartius Warehouse 1. So if any of that appeals to you, or you just want to support the show and get in on the sample action or sample raffle action, we'll be announcing those winners next week on the live stream about halfway through. So feel free to support any level that is comfortable for you at patreon.com, Malt, Muse, or Whiskey. Now that we got that out of the way, whiskey review coming up on Friday. Ben Romick Sassicaia Wood Finish, which is a wine finish whiskey from the aforementioned Ben Romick. It is the 2012 vintage that will drop Friday. Patreons expect that in your inbox a little bit early, sometime on Wednesday. All right. With all of that said, let us dive into our bottle. Our featured bottle this week, I happened to get my hands on the newest release in the Cask Strength Batch series from Billy Walker's Glenallachie. It is Batch 7. Now, I believe this might have just dropped in the U.S. in the past month or two. Some folks might have got it earlier from overseas, but I've just started really seeing this showing up around here recently. I know if you look at our good friend and Patreon supporter, Alan the Whiskey Friend, I believe he did a review of this quite a while back. But I have finally got my hands on a bottle of it. This is Batch 7. Let me just give you the tail of the tape while we uncork this bottle and let it get some oxygen. Let's do this in the glass. Pretty weak cork is what it is. We'll do a nice healthy dram, right? It's Tasty Tuesday, y'all. I'm not going to hold back. All right. Bottle looks the same as all the others. So the tail of the tape here. This is a 10-year-old whiskey. This is the 7th batch. I believe they are doing 1 batch a year or maybe 2 batches a year. I think it's 2 batches a year. I'm not quite sure. It's an irregular schedule, similar to Springbank. It says right here on the label, this is bottled at 56.8% ABV, so a notch lower than the batch 6 was, which was 57.8. It is 10 years old. At minimum, it is natural color, and it is not chill filtered. All great things written right here on this bottle. That's what it's got to say on there. Let's take a look at the box. We proudly present this at natural color, non-chill filtered to showcase the whiskey in its purest form. A little bit of info. Scotland's few independent distilleries says, so they say on here, led by master distiller Billy Walker, formerly of Ben Riach. Each cask is held within our 16 on-site warehouses in frequent monitored cask and re-racked into different cask types until Billy deems that the perfect balance between distillery character and influence of the wood has been achieved. It does not tell us, unfortunately. Let me just make sure, because there's writing all over these things. No, it does not tell us what this has been aged in. So a little Google research says that this one is aged in Oloroso Sherry, PX, Rioja red wine, and virgin oak. So it's 4 different casks in this, which is a very typical thing from Billy Walker whiskeys. If you're a fan of the Benriachs from yesteryear, you will no doubt be not surprised that they are using so many different casks in their whiskeys. So a nice presentation, good integrity bottling, and honestly, these get a lot of hype. I think out of the Glenallachie range, this is the one that, at least among the whiskey tube community, you tend to hear the most about. Looking at you, Alan, the whiskey friend, for example. He's a big fan of these. I enjoyed the batch 6 quite a bit. I think I've also had the batch 5, which I thought was quite good. So we'll see if the trend continues here into batch 7. We got it sitting in the glass. Let me just catch up here on the chat and say hello to the new folks popping in, and we are going to get into this. All right. Leo, Ben Romick is killing it. My favorite news story. Hey, man, I'm right there with you. I'm a huge fan as well, if it hasn't been made obvious already. James Morgan says, was an early batch. I saw a WT Japanese finished. Daniel H. Most threes in the house. What's up? Good to see you. Rob MC, how are you doing, man? Awesome to have you. They really upped the volume on this batch, nearly 50% increase in bottles released. Oh, there you go. Yeah, they didn't mention, I don't know if they mentioned how many they've done before, but I think if you look on like Whiskey Base or something like that, you can find out. That's good to know. Thanks, Dustin. Yeah, I bet it's a different batch. All right, Cohen, holding it down. Los Angeles, City of Angels. What's good? Greetings to Muser and the Mall Mongols, man. Back at you, sir. JK135 is in the house. The whiskey dudes and dudettes are all in between. Hello to you, man. Distillate character of Glenallachie is just meh, in my opinion. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about that. I tend to agree with you. Hey, Mike B, holding it down over there in Maryland. We got folks all across the fruited plain of the United States. What is up? A few of our international friends, India, UK are in the house. Great to see you all. All right, let's get into this. Okay. Let's clean the old palate. All right, once again, like I said, the tail of the tape on this one, 56.8%, 10 years old, non-chill filtered, natural color. All good things. Internet says it is Rioja red wine, Oloroso, PX, and virgin oak. So a hell of a lot of sherry going on in this whiskey. And it seems to be reflected in that quite beautiful color. Look at that. Looking good, looking good, looking good. All right. Let me know in the chat. Has anybody had this one before? I think I saw the top shelf. Dustin has had it. If you had any of the other batches, did you really like? Did you not? Be really curious to hear what folks have to say. The other thing I should mention about this, as we get into it, the price of these, at least here in the U.S., has really gone up. I mean, everything seems to have gone up for the most part. But this one, I seem to recall these in that 70, 65 range when they first came out. And they're going for like 92. I've even seen them over 100 now, which I'm not so sure this is going to live up to the hype on that. But let's check it out. Batch 7, here we go. A really nice color. Here's the nose. Ooh. Oaky. Much more oaky than I seem to remember the last one being. It's got a little bit of that kind of varnish, shoe polish quality to it. Immediately, it's oaky. You get a lot of cask oak from the casks on this, more so than I recall in previous batches. Bit prickly from the alcohol too. Behind that, there's some fruits, a bit on the subdued side. Again, this is, of course, a neck pour, if you think that matters. Kind kind of some medium red fruits. There's a little bit of a sweetness, maybe like a strawberry kind of thing. Probably, no doubt, the PX. Little hints of vanilla, maybe some butterscotch toffee going on. Mixed berries. Yeah, so really the takeaway here, I mean, this is kind of sweet and oaky. It's really the profile we're looking at here. Giving it a little bit more time here. It is popping some more of this kind of juicy mixed berries, wild berry kind of thing going on, which isn't bad. It's actually quite nice. It's actually more berries than anything. I seem to recall with the batch 6 is a bit more of your kind of like red fruits, oloroso, typical fruits, like notes of that. This apple, this is a bit more of a berry thing going on. It is a bit prickly with the alcohol. There's something else here too. Grape. Okay, so a lot of berry fruits and oak on this. Okay, let's give it a taste, Solange. Happy Tasty Tuesday, everybody. Glenallachie, 10 years old. Cask Strength Batch 7. Let's do it. Ooh. Okay. First impressions here. This is much more oak, and the youth, I think, for perhaps the first time, at least in my experience with these, is showing up on this whiskey. You can taste it. It's got a lot more rough edges than I seem to recall from previous batches. It arrives with a pretty medium body. Again, maybe even medium to medium kind of heavy viscosity, pretty syrupy, really coats the mouth. It's a bit hot. The first things that are really coming through here is, again, this kind of mixed berries, blackberry, blueberry, even like raspberry-ish. More oak than I recall in the previous batches. Perhaps the cask qualities went down a little bit. I believe I saw somebody mention that the output was higher. Could be showing up here. Bit hotter, bit oakier. As it goes into the development, spice comes in. Cinnamon, and again, just youthful spirit. It's kind of breaking through that cask maturation a bit and revealing itself in a way that I just don't seem to remember with the batch 6, or I mean, definitely not with the batch 5, at least at this level. Finish is medium to medium long. You got a little bit of a nuttiness, a little bit vanilla. The oak is there. It's not overly tannic. It's a little just flatter on the flavor. Like everything seems a little bit more subdued than I recall on previous batch, which, again, I think all things here in the initial tasting are pointing to perhaps just not quite the same quality of casks that were used last time. They just don't seem to have imparted as much. This is a young whiskey, and it's a bold whiskey, right? This is a cask-driven spirit, and I think one of the things that was so delicious about it is quite frankly just like how much cask influence there is here. And I'm not saying there isn't any here. It's here. But the spirit, for one of the first times, I find breaking through at a level that I just don't quite remember with other ones. Let's do another quick neat taste, and then we'll put some water on this. A little bit of an earthy funk to it. Yeah. got to say, neat first impressions. This is a notably less impressive bottling compared to the batch 6, the batch 5. I don't think I had the batch 4. Compared to the 6 and the 5, this is very much I think a step back in terms of just the overall presentation, and just oakier, younger. It's just showing up here. Let's put some water on this, and I'm actually going to be pretty generous with the water here. I'm going to do about 5 or 6 drops just to see what else we can get. Let me know in the chat, has anybody else had this? Let me catch up here. We got 20 folks in. What's up, y'all? Happy Tasty Tuesday. It is great to see so many faces in the chat here. Y'all are the best. All right, what's good? All right, let me see where I was. Okay, there's Mike B. Donner Pass. And look where my Glenallachie bottles I've had. Just the 12 and the 15. They're okay, but not that into it. Man, Eric, cracked that Anok 24, and it's so great. I'm getting married in Poland next week, where my fiance is from, and it was so good. I ordered one for the wedding. Can't wait. Hey, man, everybody in the chat, shoot a congratulations to this guy, man. Wedding in Poland, man. That is awesome. And yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad. Everybody I meet who's had that seems to feel the same way you do. That was my whiskey of the year 2 years ago for a very good reason. The value, the quality is just amazing. I'm so glad to hear it, man. Great bottle to have at your wedding. I mean, you're just never going to be disappointed in that 24-year-old Anok. So congratulations again, JK 135, man. My very best to you and your bride to be, and of course, enjoy that good malt. Batch 5, 27,000. Batch 6, 39. Batch 7, 66. Okay. Thank you, Dan. Or Dustin. I appreciate that, man. Got some Wisers in the glass this evening. Showing some love to the Canadians. It's my boy Mike. Hope you're doing well by the way, too, man, with your recovery. All right. That is a serious production increase. I agree. Yeah. Big congrats coming into JK 135. I'm sure remained mostly a sipper that night. Yeah. Hey. Cheers all around. The biggest problem with Glenallachie is pretty much the entire core range tastes the same as Alpha Crown. You're not lying. 100. I know, bro. I know, man. I know. It's stupid, man. It's one of those whiskeys. I remember when I did the review, I was like, oh man, the price on this was so good. I figured it's, once it goes out, it's going to go up. I mean, you can still, and I'll be honest, under $200 is totally worth it to me. I mean, it's worth it maybe even a little more than 200, but Masri, yeah, I picked up the batch 5 around 75, still in the shelves in Atlanta, but price has gone up on the batch 6. There you go. Okay, 75. Yeah, okay, that makes total sense. Cheers from Chicago to Georgia. Grabbed batch 6 the other day. First Glenallachie for me, says Mike B. I'll be really curious to hear what you got to say about that. Glenallachie dark color looks beautiful. Cheers. Yeah, I agree. We need a Glenallachie 10. Batch 5 through 7 face off. Well, I am not sure I have any batch 5 yet, but I do have batch 6. I could see that being a video that drops next week as a review. Keep your eyes peeled. It may already be on the schedule. There may be a reason that I'm cracking this one tonight. We shall see. All right. Cool. Folks chatting back and forth. D-Pass. Billy Walker's a smart guy. He sold Glendronach for big, and right now ran out of his much older stock. He's putting in the age statement bottles that everyone got pissed at the new owners. Like, yeah. I just heard Glendronach is increasing their production by like 50%. This comes on the heels of them chill filtering. No surprise there. The tumbling towards a second class whiskey for sure. Congrats coming into our boy JK 135, man. Congrats. Yeah, definitely. Oh man, this Glenallachie batch 6 tastes like raisin and barrel tannins. Yeah, I like the batch 6 quite a bit. I like Glenallachie 12. It is very inexpensive. The 10 is overpriced here, says Peter White up in Canada. Yeah. All right. So this has got some water on it. Let's see what else we can tease out of this. Again, there's oak char. Oak char in a way I just don't seem to remember on other ones. The berries are still there. I do agree. I do think the water's even this out a little bit, but it's not big, bold, and fruity like I recall the last one. It seems a little younger. It's a little more sprightly. Little hints of like kind of an almond marzipan thing going on. Still prickly on the nose. Again, not surprised. That's not a ding against it. It's fucking 56.8% for Christ's sake. Yeah, man, it seems like if the last one was Radiohead, this is like the Coldplay version. Just like diet. Here we go. Better. Still, the development's relatively short. Hotter. A lot of fruit gives way to heat, slight spice, oak. Slightly tannic. Not getting any real chocolate notes, which I would expect here. Somebody said raisin earlier. A little bit. This has gotten sweeter with water. More like in the strawberries kind of way. But again, it is a shorter event. The finish is a little bit of an echo of fruit notes. It's more just sweet and oaky. There it is. A little bit cocoa powder on the back end, but it is not as prominent as I would expect. This isn't overly tannic. It's just more of the oak showing up. Okay. So you look, y'all, for a range that many felt it could do no wrong, I think maybe it hit its apex with batch 6. This one is just this one's just not on the same level. It's younger tasting, I should say. It could be younger spirit generally in it. It has 10 years, just means minimum 10 years of what's in here. But it's oakier, it's edgier, its youth is showing up. I'm just a little surprised, and for the price they're asking these days, and this is upwards of $90. I gotta say, this is a hard pass at $90. I can't say that this is something I would recommend offhand. I will do a full review of this. Honestly, my score here, man, look, I'll be honest. This is a 2.5. It is just missing the mark. For me, an average is 3. 2.5 is a try before you buy, for sure, situation for me. So this is a prelim score. This is a neck pour. This is just 3 sips of this. This is a 2.5, man. It is the bold richness is here, but it is in a such more. You ever see Pet Sematary when the Achilles gets slit? That's what's happened here. It's just been slighted. It has been undercut. It has been. The casks here have taken. Okay, there's 2 things going on, I think. Either A, this has less older whiskey in it, which was carrying the day with some of the other ones, or B, the casks are just more tired than they were in previous batches. It's just not as bold all the way through. One of the things that was so remarkable about the batch 6 for me was just at how rich and seamless it was. It didn't have a rough edge in that whiskey. This one, I'm not finding it particularly enjoyable in a sense that like this is a whiskey I want to go back to. And with the increase in price, if the price had stayed the same, maybe this is in that 2.75 to a 3 range. But right now, I think despite its positive attributes and the quality of the presentation, this one's fallen short for me. It's just nothing to really point at. Hot and oaky. Yeah, 2.5. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I even had a little batch 6 before the show started. I'm not going to do a comparison here because guess what? Next week's review is going to be a head-to-head. But I'll tell you right now, for those of you who are here, the 19 folks in the chat, I mean, the batch 6 blows the doors off this. If you like a whiskey that showcases casks and the influence they can have on creating a rich, delicious kind of refined whiskey, batch 6 is the way to go. This is not. This one is, again, what batch 6 excels at. This one has been clearly the casks have taken a step back, or the malt is younger. It just is what it is. I'm just being honest with y'all. 2.5 at that price. 2.5. All right. One last thing I want to talk about with Glenallachie is look, this with the slow descent in quality of distilleries like Glendronach. They've started chill filtering, so on and so forth. A lot of folks have pointed at Glenallachie as like the heir apparent, like they're the next big thing. A lot of hype around them. I'll be completely honest with y'all. From the bottlings I've had, which is batch of the 10, I've had batch 2, I've had batch 5, I've had batch 6, I've had batch 7. I have had the 15. I have had the 12-year-old. I've had one of the fancy finished ones. Glenallachie to me is kind of hit and miss. Let's talk about the positives first. They bottle and create and distill their whiskeys with integrity, and they are transparent about that on their bottlings, which is a major plus these days. And if this becomes the next Glendronach, good. I am glad that they're carrying the baton of quality integrity bottlings. Everything is 46 or higher. Everything's natural color. Everything's chill filtered, and nearly everything has an age statement. I don't think I've seen something without an age statement, and I don't think I've seen anything without an age statement or a vintage one. As for their actual distillate, I can't even. I think the closest I've got to actually tasting what their actual distillate tastes like is within their 12-year-old, because the 15 and all of these 10s are so cask driven, which is Billy Walker's kind of MO. I mean, there's 4 casks in this. That it like you don't really know what Glenallachie tastes like. Like this would be a very hard whiskey to pull out. Not this batch in particular, but the Glenallachie would be difficult to pull out in a in a blind tasting, strictly because I just don't really know what they taste like. It's so much cask. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, I really liked batch 5. I liked batch 6. Their 15 was okay. It was a whiskey designed to compete directly with the Glendronach 15. I'm sorry, the Glendronach 15 is still a superior bottling. I don't know, since they've started chill filtering. I've not had it. But I'll tell you right now, this one's missing the mark. 2.5. So there you have it. That's the conversation about Glenallachie batch 10-year-old batch 7. Would love to hear in the chat. Again, any thoughts you have. I want to take a second again and just remind folks that we're in the middle of the second Patreon supporter sample raffle. First place, there are 3 winners. If you are a Patreon supporter at this time, between now and next week, you are automatically entered. And here's what you have a chance to win. First place, samples of Ben Romick Peat Smoke, Ben Romick Contrast Peat Smoke Sherry Cask, Ardnamurchan 07-2022. Ben Bunahaven, 25 years old, Lefroy Carchis Warehouse won the 2022 bottling. Second place, Ardnamurchan and the Lefroy and the Ben Romick. Third place, Ardnamurchan and the Ben Romick. So you got a chance to win a whole bunch of different samples. Again, I do this 3 times a year for folks who are members and supporting the show on Patreon. In addition to getting in the sample raffles, you also have the you also get early access reviews. I do exclusive reviews just for Patreon supporters, etc., etc. Patreon.com/MaltMuserWhiskey. That is the channel to go to. I appreciate everyone who supports already and anybody who joins up tonight. I raise a glass to y'all. Solange. Okay. With that, we're going to drink a little bit more of this unfortunately somewhat disappointing Glenallachie Batch 7 10-year-old cask strength. But I want to bring something up, and I really want to put this out to the community because actually, y'all are the people who really drive Whiskey Tube. This week, I was reached out to by a whiskey distillery, which is not that uncommon. It doesn't happen to me tons of times, but it does. And they mentioned that they had saw that I had done a review and wanted to send me some free samples. My general policy regarding things like this has been not to take free stuff from distilleries. My logic has been, even if I disclose it, it compromises integrity. It makes it look like I'm shilling for potential, for distilleries, whatever. And honestly, I've just shied away from it after the Glen Scotia Mr. Cloudy incident of 2020. And I bring this up because I, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, I wanted to have this as a discussion. I really want to hear from folks in the chat. We got 23 folks in, which is great. What is your general opinion of this? Do you think the folks, like when you're watching a whiskey reviewer, do you expect that they'll pay, they buy everything that they review, which is what I do. I do buy everything I can review. Your super chats and Patreon support, of course, helps with that, among other things for the show. But, do you find that there's a conflict of interest with things like that? Do you feel like, or do you think, no big deal, just let us know, whatever? Is that something, what do you expect out of a whiskey reviewer that you spend your time with and you invest your time in watching? You invest your time in sharing comments to, you invest your money. What is your expectation of a whiskey reviewer? Do you want them taking stuff from distilleries, or do you want them to just say no? I will say, I'm not going to mention the distillery that reached out to me, but I did turn it down. Again, because my policy has been not to do that. But I really just want to hear from y'all. What do you think? What do you expect? And what's your opinion on it? So feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. And while you do that, I'm going to catch up here. We got 24 folks in. What is up, y'all? Happy Tasty Tuesday. We just finished our sample tasting of the Glenallachie 10 years old cask strength batch 7. We may have seen a turn for the worse. Hopefully this is a one-off. Let me catch up here. Someone who works at Enoch was on Roy's live stream last month and said changes are coming soon, so grab value bottles. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's not surprising. The same organization owns Old Pulteney, who did a, let's agree, pretty bad revamp of Old Pulteney, or remodel, redesign, whatever you want to call it. I believe they also, this is an editor group, they also own Enoch, Old Pulteney, and there's one more. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Get your get your good Enochs while you can. Coldplay Glenallachie 10 doesn't sound so good. You take it with me or not. I tend to agree. Cohen over in LA says Glenallachie 10, cask strength 90 this year, got batch 6 for 75 with a coupon and batch 5 for 80. Yeah, I feel you on that. Would like to try the Tamdu batch strength, supposed to be good. Oh yeah, the batch strength number 5 was my whiskey of the year last year. Batch 7 isn't going to get better, says Top Shelf Dustin. With water, batch 6 is so much better. I am fully expecting to score batch 7 in the 70s. Yeah. Batch 7, Malt music. Yeah, it's not great. Bottom half will be better. Give it time, says James Morgan. Let's hope so. 2.5 decidedly average. Yeah. Even a little tick below. You're right. Yeah, this is just not winning the day for me. Speaking of cask strength whiskeys, Cohen, if Cohen's in the house, still a couple weeks back, Cohen was mentioning this one. This will be the whiskey that I am going to uncork next week. As y'all can tell, I have done a little summer whiskey shopping. I'm going to post soon the full the full haul that I've got. Highland Park Cask Strength Batch 2. I'm going to do this one next week. And of course, we will be talking about the winners. I'll reveal the winners of the Patreon sample raffle. Wow, that was unexpected. I thought the batches were getting better. And it doesn't seem so. It's just, it's just missing in action a bit here. Top D, Cask and Tired, you said it yourself, you got so much oak. That's not from Tired Cask. Fair. I do tend to notice, I've noticed in a couple that I think the cask quality's gone down, that it's more just woody, but that might not be the only factor here. And I think you might be right about that. I think it really just could be the overproduction here. Maybe they're using less old stuff in it. I don't know. We'll see. Thankfully, I only purchased batch 5 silver. Yeah, that batch 5 was the winner. MC Squared Whiskey. Cheers, Malt User. Back at you. Good to have you in the house. Do y'all really think batch 6 is the guy? This is still not blowing me away or really doing anything special for me. I'm not excited to continue this part. Wow. I liked batch 6. I thought it was just a really nice presentation of a cask-driven spirit. I don't remember how much I liked it. I'd have to look back. I don't know if I did a full review, but it was. I enjoyed it. They ramped up production, might have cut corners, says James Morgan. Yeah. That's. I think Dustin was mentioned in that too. Ardenberg and Cask Strength and peated bourbon yesterday, 500 or something. Sid, how you doing? Good to see you. Is Billy Walker a genius, or does he top dress his bottlings and run down the distillery's older cask? I don't know. I mean, genius. I don't know. That is my general impression. I am a big fan of Ben Riach. I like the older Ben Riachs. Billy, the things I know about him is he seems to love doing a lot of different casks. And that's not unsurprising. I mean, Jim McEwen was similar. I think he liked playing around with a lot of casks, particularly in the Black Art range. I just can't say there's anything remarkable about anything that I've had from Glenallachie. In fact, why don't we just continue the Glenallachie show? So here I have a Glenallachie. This is a vintage bottling. This is a 2006 natural color, non-chill filtered, 61% Oloroso puncheons, 14 years. There were 677 bottles of this. Why don't we just pour some of this? Just to revisit, I have not had much. Again, gorgeous color. Let's throw some of this in the glass. Just see. I don't know. Let's see what. Again, so the thing about this whiskey is I just do not find anything in it from Glenallachie that really shows their distillate. What I taste in Glenallachie is cask-driven spirit. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? I'm thinking about distilleries that I get a lot of cask, or a lot of distillate character in. Bruichladdich is a great example of that. Glenallachie is a contrast for me. I get it tastes like you could put any whiskey in the casks, and the casks are have such an impact that this is what I get out of the flavor. So we're gonna throw this one in the glass. Let this get a little bit of oxygen, loads of spice on the batch 6 finish. Glenallachie may be my distillery Tudor Kilchoman. Yeah, I know. Kilchoman is not my wheelhouse necessarily. Vancouver's in the house. Indy, what's up? Great to see you. Cohen says Tamdu over Glenallachie for me as a good sherry monster. Yes, I'm 100% agree with you on that. Brad Porter, what up? It's tough to get Glenallachie where I am. I just ordered the Glenallachie 12. Never tried anything from them, but I'm hoping it doesn't suffer from the decline that this does. The Glenallachie 12, I feel like I've had just 2 samples of it. I know they changed it over the years, but it's been a solid bottling. I think for something that's a little bit on the introductory side, I think you'll quite enjoy it. Let us know where you're at, Brad, by the way. I'd love to give you a shout out. Downhill after batch 5. Well, debatable. I like batch 6, but Pickled Hound. USA rye finished 10-year-old at 48% is different. I have not had that one yet, but I saw it. Rye finished scotches are hard to come by. I actually just picked up Glenallachie 14 from Gordon MacPhail All Bourbon. It's actually surprisingly great. It's even casting too. Yeah, there are a ton of independent bottles of Glenallachie. Right now, I'm going independent bottles for sherry bombs these days. Take your chances on getting sulfur bomb. But you had some beauties too. You're totally right. Tennessee is in the house. It's our good friend Stephen Connor. What's up, man? Great to see you, buddy. Been a minute. How are you? Back at you. Yeah, thanks for dropping that, bud. Valentine Mallet has a 12-year-old Glenallachie single cask bourbon. Yeah, so this one that I'm going to try out here. This is part of the a trilogy of whiskeys that they put out. All Oloroso punch-ins from Tindrum. It was a Tindrum.com exclusive, which is a British whiskey seller. 61%, 14 years old, single cask. Again, I just let's give it a taste. Let's just give it a taste. Look at the color on that one too. Again, another beautifully colored whiskey. This one's even more beautiful than that the one that we just looked at. Tons of rich sherry. Less prickly on the nose, by the way, than the 10-year-old cask strength. Again, maybe that 4 years is helping tone it down, but this is still 61%. Hot damn. Anywho, so drop your thoughts in the chat about whiskey reviewers who take free stuff from distilleries. I'd love to hear it. As I mentioned, I've had a general policy that I don't. I pay for everything that I sample, and your support goes a long way for that. I also, obviously I use mostly my own money for it. Just because I think it keeps you independent, and you don't even want the potential conflict of interest or something like that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Be honest. Am I stupid for not taking free samples from these people? Just let me know. This is just full of rich sherry. Again, no surprise. It's a full punch and sherry whiskey. Here we go. Again, pretty delicious for a single cask. For a single cask, you're getting a ton of sherry, but again, there's nothing in this that's really showcasing anything else other than the sherry, right? So it might as well, whether it's a single cask or not, is almost besides the point. There's nothing in this whiskey that is like, oh yeah, this is that classic Glenallachie taste. I wouldn't know that this was Glenallachie if you put this into a blind tasting. I just don't feel like their actual distillate shows up much in these because of the casks that they use. It's not always a bad thing. This is a delicious sherry bomb. This whiskey's more like in the 3.5, 3.75. Way better than that 10. I need to open my Ardnamurchan single cask peated sherry. Please do, and let us know how that is. That sounds fantastic. Gerbeck says, stay independent. It's needed these days. Free stuff from distilleries compromises your integrity and can lead to bias. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's a good point. Distillery sample, crickets. This is Jack the Pickled Hound. Pour a sample SB from your last big pack of samples that sent you another sherry bomb. That would be interesting to compare to Glenallachie. I got to find that box. Let me see if I can dig it up. Of course, there's a conflict of interest, but so what? It makes the channel easier to run. Take some free stuff, says Top Shelf Dustin. This is my first time here. How's everyone doing this thing? We are doing fantastic, Brad. How are you? Where are you joining us from, man? Great to have you. I know it sucks, but turning down distilleries does improve the legitimacy of a review. Thank you, Leo. Okay. The key is full transparency and honesty. They can give you stuff, but to be completely honest and let us know that they gave it to you, just can't be a shill for the man, says Stephen Connor. Okay, very fair. If you disclose the source, it will be a wink and a nod for us to tell if you really like it. I think it's an honor to get great recognized by these companies. That said, they see you as a person of influence. Oh, that says the same. That said, just be honest and brutally honest in your reviews. Counterpest says, go for it. As long as you disclose it and are willing to give it a negative review or risk distilleries not wanting to give you free stuff, that's fine. No issues as long as you disclose it up front, says Mike B. Okay. This is really helpful. I really appreciate you guys saying all this. Let them know your integrity is more important than any product you're sent, says Daniel. Ball Blair. Yeah. That was the one. It's Old Paltney, Ball Blair, and Annock. Yeah. Everybody, if you're honest, I have a feeling a lot of distributors will be one and done with free bottles. Yeah. James Chang, I think ideally an independent reviewer should self-fund and not take anything from others. Reviewing blind, the ultimate ideal. Going to form my first dram in 2 weeks. COVID is a bitch. Oh, man. I hope you're recovering okay, dude. Tough. I think Glenallachie used more virgin oak in that bottle. That wouldn't be surprising. Hey, there he is. Just dropping by on my way to bed, fella. Have a great show. Great to see you. We were talking a little bit about you earlier, man. Folks saying hi to Alan, the whiskey friend. Do check out his channel if you have yet to. Also, we got a couple of whiskey reviewers in the house. Dribs and Drams and Top Shelf Whiskey. Check it out. It is his counterpart's birthday, Mike. Happy birthday, Mike. All right. I appreciate everybody's feedback on this. I really just wasn't sure, what to say to them. And it sounds like as long as people disclose it up front, you guys are on par, relatively cool with it, with a few dissenters. Yeah, I'll be honest. I've just not been sure what to do. The free whiskeys always sounds great, but yeah. Thank you for the input. Maybe I'll reconsider it, and we'll see down the road how that turns out. So I appreciate it. Good with a single class on John Gar Cavlan, and love me some old refill. Saying hi to Michigan. All right. It's my first time. Cheers. Hey, man, back at you from Chicago to Michigan. Another Midwestern boy in the house. What's up, man? Great to have you here. Hope you're enjoying the program tonight. And we got 25 folks still in the house, which is great. Cohen says, I'm tired of sherried malt. I would rather have an old bottling of HP. Mid sure it's up. Yeah, okay. I feel you on that. Stupid but ethical, says Kenneth. What up, Kenneth? Good to see you, man. I did just get a new Foursquare rum, by the way. I got that, whatever that 14-year-old sherry Sovereignty. I just got a bottle of the Sovereignty, which I'm going to check out. I was drinking a little bit of Foursquare while I was camping this weekend just outside Chicago. And I forgot that bottle by accident. Yeah, I wish they do not ship to me here in Chicago, unfortunately. Glenallachie's far from premier Speyside distillery. I have what I have, and we'll be buying more because the things are better at lower prices. It's cheap. Yeah, I'm with you. If Dalmore sends you free booze and review it as positive, I will be suspicious. Even that great white knight saving from the world from the distillery told me eventually said he was wrong. Take the money and run. Fair point. Speaking of free stuff, Alvagron says there was a Taiwanese channel that was asked to remove the review of a video by the importer because he didn't HV positive review. Wow, that's fantastically interesting. Really? Gary says it's all about integrity and full disclosure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys, man. I knew, I could go to y'all and get some unbiased, honest feedback. And so I really deeply appreciate it, man. Cheers, everybody. Cohen. Love you, man. You ain't lying. There you go. Yeah, it's good, but I mean, come on, $80. You're fucking out of your mind. Uh-oh, did I miss it? Leo's always got great comments, man. Our good friend out there in the desert. All right, y'all, we got 25 folks in. We're going to keep rolling. If you're just joining, review dropping Friday, Ben Romick Sassicaia 2012 wood finish is going to drop this Friday. Patreons. And if you are a new Patreon who's getting in on the sample love, which will be announced next week, you will be getting that review early. You'll see it tomorrow. I should mention also we are going to move to a different whiskey because the Glenallachie 10 cask strength, batch number 7, well, let's just say it's missing the mark. I think the next review that I'm going to do and work on as soon as this week is going to be a comparison of the 6 and the 7, because I believe those are the bottles I have. Let me actually check what I all have here. Actually, I got, well, hot damn. We do have a batch 5. All right. Not this week, but next week, we're going to have a batch 5, batch 6, batch 7 blind review throwdown. That's going to be the review. We'll see how these, if the batch 7 wins, I mean, I'll definitely be surprised. Let me just put it that way. I'll definitely be surprised. Awesome. So I do have a batch 5. Batch 5. I didn't realize it. Okay. We're going to move along. Winston the Whiskey Cat is still just tired as all hell. I should have probably seen what he thinks of the batch 7. We all know that his palate is so refined that he turns his nose up at any and all whiskeys. Don't you, Winston? Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Should we go peated, non-peated? Should we go peated, non-peated? I got to figure out which whiskey we're gonna keep going here with. Boy, it's a good question. What about? Oh, part of me thinks we should do some Lafroig 18. Oh, nice. Yeah, that batch 2. I mean, that one's not easy to find. I think that one was more on the. I don't remember what the barrel maturation was on that. Maybe Lafroig 18. Lafroig 15? I don't know. Should we go peated, non-peated? Go back to the cartridge. You know what? That's what we're going to do. Since this is going to be one of the samples that somebody can potentially win, I'm going to go back to this. And I have not really had a taste of this since we did the uncorking a few weeks back. Let's go back and check out the new Lafroig cartridge. This cartridge is the warehouse one. It's all bourbon cask. The first time that they've done an all bourbon cask release since 2015. Although the 2017 quarter cask kind of was right there. Dude says ton. My palate's too torched for the ton with all that cask strength. I can't do the ton. In fact, actually, the last Patreon exclusive review I did, which was less than a week ago, was for a ton, now that I think about it. I don't have a Corey Vrecken, unfortunately. It's been a minute. Love me some Corey, though. Yeah, let's check out the cartridge. I don't know. Has everybody who's had a chance to taste the new cartridge? What do y'all think about it? My first impressions were quite favorable. And part of it was because it was like finally just a straight bourbon cask Laphroaig, which I definitely was looking forward to. But so everybody who is part of the Patreon sample raffle next week will get a sample of this. This one's going to be in everybody's goodie bag. God, I love the smell of Laphroaig. Even when they fail, they win.
Yeah, do we? Did I do it recently? I don't remember.
I don't remember if I did this one recently. I don't know, but I got to go back to it. Give me just 1 second here, y'all. Okay. Let's talk some cartridges.
Indy's got the fermentation started, but would you pay for the fermentation over there in Canada?
I don't know. It's really random. As I mentioned I did a comparison of the 13 and 14. In the 13, I thought it was exponentially better. I'm a little concerned about what it might be going, because last year was the first year that I can remember seeing Laphroaig put out 2 cask strength 10 batches in 1 year. The 13 was quite good, but the 14 struck me as rushed and not quite as complex and interesting. I don't know if that portended a potential 2 releases a year, 2 different expressions a year. I don't know. Last year, they were January, June, but they weren't released until later in the year. So I'm expecting we'll see that 15 relatively soon, and hoping we don't see a 16.
Really?
Well, there you go. Okay, here we go. Laphroaig Carchis. Yeah, I'm with you. I've been I did get a sample of the fermentation from a friend. I have not tried the hardcore, but I'm done with that stuff. I'm not chasing those bottles anymore. They have hardcore limited release bottlings at my liquor store, my Binny's up the road here in Chicago, for $129. And I was like, yeah, right. What's interesting is that the limited release, the limited edition, seems to have come out the same time as the committee, which is usually there's like a staggering, right? Usually it's like late summer when the limited hits the shelves. I wonder if they're starting to see some less than stellar marketing news about people who are buying this stuff and they had to release it all at once. Waiting for the cold weather to open my Laphroaig PX Carchis. Yeah, all the PX Carchis. Gonna be burnt offering Christmas. There you go. Top shelf. Though I may not buy anything from Ardbeg 10 ever again, to be honest. Anything but Ardbeg 10. There you go. Laphroaig Carchis reminds me of smelling a butter-based steak off the grill. That kind of, it doesn't smell like that. Just gives me that same feel. There you go, man. I love it. Even $29 is too much for a bottle of hardcore sizzle. Love it. This is the Pulse Review. It's time it is. All right, here we go. Carchis. I mean, does this live up to the PX cast strength of last year? I wouldn't say so, but this is still really nice if a little bit more one-dimensional. So much salt. brininess, medicinal peat, bourbon cask. Mm. Mm. It's sweet. It's delicious. There's just nothing wrong with this. There's just nothing wrong with this. Is it a little young? Yeah. But again, the Carchis, unlike Ardbeg, Carchis has remained in a relatively affordable way. The only one that was more expensive than $100 I find on average was the 2020 Port and Wine, which was also one of the least impressive. I think this whiskey is a 3.75-ish range for me. I don't quite know. I'll do a full review of it. I do quite enjoy it, though. I mean, it's hard, sometimes when you're a really big fan of a distillery, it's really hard to what do you want to call it? Disentangle your love of the distillery and their classic spirit from releases. Ardbeg is an example of, Laphroaig is an example of this, because Laphroaig is just such a classic, awesome whiskey. And this Carchis grabs an essence of Laphroaig that I've not really had in a lot of other ones. So much butterscotch. So much just heavy bourbon cask. You just gotta love it. Maybe they shouldn't have went first fill with the bourbon cask. I think they do first fill on yeah, they do. But whatever. I think they knew exactly the right move on this, man. I think they did they've been going with the wine casks. I mean, we look back at the Carchis line. Last year was PX Cask Strength. Port and Wine was before that. Triplewood Cask Strength. Fino. They've been doing a lot of funkier bottlings. This is a very just classically Laphroaig bottle. Classic Laphroaig. And it's better than the 10. It's better than the quarter cask. I mean, it's not the lore. I wouldn't say this is as good as the lore, but it is this is a very essential elemental Laphroaig that you just can't help but love, even though it's not maybe the best Laphroaig you have, or the most complex, or the most interesting in that sense. It just delivers a bourbon cask driven Laphroaig the way you want it. I agree with you. Yeah. Nice going. Yeah, China Bait Taiwan, the pre-communist. There you go. Ugh. That's a great deal. You don't find Port Charlotte 10s that cheap anymore. I had 2 in the bunker, but 1 got open. Yeah. I feel you, brother. I feel you. PC 10 is replacing Ardbeg 10 on my shop. Wow, there you go. Did the lore get discontinued? Not to my knowledge. Yeah, not to my knowledge. Lore pricing has jumped the shark in Canada, including Alberta. That sucks. PC 10 is my go-to. Isla, like Food Quig, and Laphroaig 10 says Daughter Pass. Ardbeg 10 is still my go-to 10-year-old. I think last week, we did a bottle of Ardbeg 10, and I think I was mentioning how, I was of the opinion I had done a 3-way battle between the Laphroaig 10, Ardbeg 10, and PC 10. The Ardbeg 10 won, but the PC 10 was second. I think it might be time for another head-to-head. I did find the most recent bottling of the Ardbeg tend to be just a little bit less impressive than the others. So we might have to do another. I might do a one-on-one showdown. We'll see. Tough to say there. Dude, you're completely right. I mean, there's websites overseas. I remember finding it like on sale for like 65. Like they were just pumping out Lefroy Lores. I think I had like 5 bottles because of this sale I found a couple of years ago. I got a bunch of Lore. Lore is great. I know Ralphie won't review it because it's, doesn't have an age statement and all that shit. But if you ever wanted a whiskey that, look, okay, you know what? Let's put this to the chat. Name a couple whiskeys that are non-age statements that you guys think are buck the trend of NAS, like that really show up as good NAS whiskeys. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Lore is one of mine. Tamdu batch strength is another. I think the NAS thing generally was a response, particularly a couple of years ago. We'll probably be seeing even more of it, to depleted stocks, to increased demand, blah, blah, blah. Age statement, I think, generally is something I would prefer over a non-age statement. But there are some whiskeys that you just can't put an age statement on because it would affect their son. So, like, if you have a whiskey like Lore, which maybe has some 5-year-old Lefroy, but also 30-year-old, you got to put 5 on there. Nobody's going to, 5-year-old people are going to think it's way younger than it is. I do think that there are, in addition to just like being able to sell more whiskey, I think that there is some good, there's some honest conundrums around the marketing of some of those NAS whiskeys that like anybody rationally would choose to not put an age statement on it because it just wouldn't capture the full integrity of what's in the malt.
There's some good ones coming in here. Lore's the only regular release that's not a batch product. I'll keep buying. There you go. Balvenie Ton. Yeah. Some good NAS product. Totally. Yes. 100% on our past. You're completely right. Glenallachie Idler Barley is a good NAS. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Man, I'm really excited that Patreon folks are going to win some cartridges because this is a damn good bottle. I really enjoy this. Chris over in the Quad City says Ugadal. Absolutely. Victoriana, 100%. Completely agree with you on that. I'm on to a second dram. Fuck. Dude, let me just say it. Dude, bro. Let me just say it. Lefroy, come on, man. I wish Lefroy would be a little bit more integrity with their bottlings. I wish they told you more about it. I wish they didn't chill filter. I wish they didn't put color. This one, at least, I think they tell you it's non-chill filtered or barrier filtered. No, they do on the 10, and they also do non-chill filtered on the triple wood. But they're just, Lefroy is just quintessential I love. This is a fine dram. Much better than the unfortunate kind of mediocrity that the Glenallachie 10 Batch 7 was earlier tonight, which was a 2 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5, by the way. I'll do a full review, but I'm looking forward to folks who are part of the Patreon. So again, next week on the show live, about halfway through, I will announce the winners. Anybody who is a Patreon supporter, about halfway through, by the time we get to the bottom half of the first hour of next week's show, will automatically be entered to win a potential Bunnahabhain 25 sample, Carchis Warehouse 1 sample, Ben Romick Contrast Peat Smoke, and the Ardnamurchan 0722 or 21. So we got a bunch of samples. There'll be 3 winners, as I mentioned earlier. Third place, Carchis, Ben Romick. Second place, Ardnamurchan, Carchis, Ben Romick. First place, Ardnamurchan, Carchis, Ben Romick, Buna 25. So if you are on the list, I will announce it next week. We will put it in random.org, figure out the winners. And again, appreciate the support. Our boy Andrew Page in Jersey's in the house. Lore's great. 5 or 6 year old whiskey. And it's still probably from Quarter Cask. Is the other stuff crazy news about? Yeah, I agree. Definitely the Quarter Cask stuff in there is it's an expertly made whiskey, in my opinion. The frog. Oh yeah, the laughing frog. I saw that. The Single Cask Nation one. You've had that? There you go. I'll throw in Middleton. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Nice. That's a nice pour. Very nice pour. Yeah, I mean, some of my NAS whiskeys, of course, the Port Charlotte, or I'm sorry, the Isle of Barley's from Glenallachie, Tamdu, Batch Strength, definitely in there. These Carchis, Lore, definitely part of that. Ugadal, that's in there. Naked Grouse is a cheaper one. Let's see. What else would I throw in there? Yeah, Balvenie Ton. I mean, a bunch of the Compass Box releases. Probably a bunch of those. Spice Tree. Glenmorangie Signet. That'd be a good one to toss in that list. Definitely. All right, y'all. I'm going to take this off into the sunset. Again, whiskey review dropping this Friday. Ben Romick Sassicaia Wood Finish 2012 vintage will be coming your way. And then again next week, we're going to uncork Highland Park Cask Strength Batch 2. I hope it's better than Batch 1. We will find out. And we'll be announcing those Patreon supporter whiskey sample raffle winners. I'm very much looking forward to that. Hit that like on your way out. And of course, subscribe if you haven't to, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hope everybody is staying safe and doing well this summer. We're in the dog days here in August. And I know there's some oppressive heat and natural disasters happening in so many parts. Kentucky, California, to name a few. I hope you and yours are staying safe and out of harm's way. Raise a glass to y'all. And with that, Malt Muser and Winston the Whiskey Cat, who's been signed off for the entire show, we'll do our formal sign off here. Much love to everybody, man. Salanchaba.